Hello and welcome to snowy upstate New York. We're in Lake Placid, the venue for the 32 and 80 Winter Games and the 2012 FIBT Bauhaus Skeleton World Championships. We're getting ready for the first of our 4 runs here. Hello everybody, I'm Martin Haven. Alongside me is women's silver medalist Melissa Hollingsworth. And Mel, we're glad to be inside and not out there in this weather.
Yeah, fresh off the track, and I'm happy I'm in a warm booth and getting the best seat in the house watching this race.
I don't think it's dampened down the enthusiasm of the Latvian fans. They've been loud and travelling all season long. But what about this Lake Placid track? What a challenge for the athletes.
Yeah, and we like to say that we feel like we're inside of a washing machine when we're on this track. It is very abrupt, very quick transitions, a longer start, so those push monsters like Alexander Tretiakov are going to have a bit of advantage right off the block. Go into corner 1, it's a long right-hand corner. Corner 2 was a very difficult corner in training. We were coming out on our sides in that corner, believe it or not. 3, there's a strategic hit on the left-hand side before you go into this big white-face corner 4. 5 and 6 are both to the right. And what's really important in these fast transitions is that you're absorbing everything. You go into the big shady 2 and you're really high up to the roof. Typical is that you can hit on the left-hand side, have to cross over into corner 12 here, otherwise you're going to get some air time before you're going into 13. Have a lot of height in the entrance of 14 to get through the chicane, so you have to thread the needle through that straight part. Go into the heart here in the bottom, lots of speed, over 120 kilometers an hour. You're going to see the men going before they cross the finish line.
And you really feel the speed and the pressure here grinding you and your head and your sled down into the ice. Track record holder Matt Antoine set that in March, the final America's Cup, the third tier of sliding, in fact, on this track at the end of last year. There you can see our World Cup champion warming up, Martin Stucours, and your teammates as well. 3 Canadians in the competition, and Canada looking for a chance to win medals here. Martin Stucours looking to make history. Air temperature, well, -3 degrees, plus snow, plus icy snow, but the track is going to be cold and fast like it was for the girls earlier.
It's going to be fair race conditions because the Lake Placid track is covered. We've got a fantastic track crew here that said that they're going to be sweeping in the chicane after every athlete, so I suspect that the weather will not be a factor.
Alexander Krökel and Frank Rommel of Germany kick off the starting draw. Top 10 in the world rankings go into a random draw. Martins and Thomas Ducours go off 3rd and 4th, so that's good start draws for them ahead of Alexander Tretiakov of Russia. Former world champion Kristen Bromley in the field in 6th position. His teammate Adam Pengilly 13th off, and Ed Smith, one of 5 sliders who has never made a World Cup start. Anton Bachuev is another one. They go off inside the top 20. How come they're so high up? Because they've been scoring well in the second heat. He may well spend a little time in the leaders box with a good second run. Now then, Ben Sanford of New Zealand. He's capable of producing some pretty spectacular results on his form as well. Best result this year, took a silver medal in the World Cup. And he's already had 4 wins in the America's Cup, including 2 here.
Yes, Ben spends a lot of time in Lake Placid sliding, so I suspect that we're going to see some nice lines, some smooth lines, and a lot of calmness, despite the slow start.
Well, he's 6'6". It's awfully hard to bend down to the ice when you're that height. Believe me, I know. I have to fall over to get down that low. But he's got some, just the perfect body for skeleton almost, you know, and he just has got great form.
Yes, and he handles all of these abrupt really, really well.
Now he's settled. Now he starts to look like he's doing nothing. Just look at the form.
Yes, quiet on his sled, absorbing all of that. Early in the 12th, low. He didn't see any air between his runners and the ice.
15th at the start. He's 9th, and look at the speed, 1:21.9. He's about the 3rd quickest man through the chicane. It's snowing outside. He doesn't care. It's warm inside. He's in the 10. Where's he going to be at the line? Heading to the top 6.
Wow.
5th run for Ben Sanford. Way to go, tall guy.
That is amazing. He was nearly 76 miles per hour.
Look, in the first split, he was 0.3 back. In the second split, after the first couple of corners, he was 57 hundredths behind the leader. At the line, he was only 54 hundredths behind. He was quicker than Martin Stucours, the leader, from the Devil's Highway onto the bottom of the track.
Wow. 15th best start, and he can drive himself to a 5th finish. But watch, look at those runners. They're straight. They're not going sideways. They're not cutting ice.
Wow, 3rd fastest sled. That is a great indication of what his body shape allows him to do. That, an uncanny ability to read the ice. Well, confirmation of that result, Martins Ducos leading by 23 hundredths from Frank Rommel, Thomas Ducos and Matt Antoine, the home slider, in 4th spot. Ben Sanford, great run for him to go 5th. Russia's hopes pinned on Sergei Chudinov. Kristen Bromley 7th, ahead of top Canadian John Fairbairn. Adam Pengillian 8th, took bronze, silver, beg your pardon here, 3 years ago. John Daly of the USA just out of the 10. 31 athletes all trying to get into the top 10. 21 of them are going to come away disappointed. Rookie Ed Smith, 16th spot for him. One of 5 new faces in the field. And down in 31st place, the unfortunate Tae Ray Kim, whose World Championship debut could hardly have got off to a worse start if he'd been locked in the changing rooms. Well, lots of support for the Latvians, and they lead after the first of our 4 heats here in Lake Placid. Well, lots more action coming on. We've got the second heat here, starts at the top of the hour. That'll be 7 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, 6 Eastern, translated into GMT yourself. I'm too late in the evening to do that for you. Join Melissa Hollingsworth and me, Martin Haven, as we get ready for Heat 2, coming up in 40 minutes or so. Hello, good evening and welcome to Lake Placid in New York State. We're in the Adirondack Mountains on Mount Van Hoevenberg, the scene of the 1932 and 1980 Winter Games sliding. And we're ready for the second of 4 heats of the Men's Skeleton World Championship in these FIBT Bauhaus World Champs. Well, as you can clearly see, yep, still snowing plentifully here. We're expecting up to a foot of overnight snow, but that didn't affect our athletes in the first heat here. Thomas Ducos of Latvia, 3rd in the World Cup rankings at the end of the season with a number of podium finishes to his name. Ended up 3rd after the first of 4 heats in the Men's Skeleton World Championships. Only one man was able to beat the World Cup champion and reigning world champion all season long. It was Frank Rommel of Germany. He lies in 2nd place after the first heat. But the bookies will lose little sleep. They won't have lost their shirts on the leader after the first heat. It is our reigning world champion, our European champion, our World Cup champion, Latvia's Martins Ducos, the Superman of ice sliding.
There's absolutely no surprises with Martin's performance. Look forward to some fast runs.
Melissa Hollingsworth and Martin Haven here calling the action as we get ready for the second of our 4 heats. 2 today, 2 tomorrow evening, and Martins Ducos leading by a near quarter of a second advantage over Frank Rommel. Maybe the smallest first heat lead he's seen all season. His run was not flawless, but it was enough to lead. His brother Thomas lies 3rd ahead of the USA's Matt Antoine. Kiwi Ben Sanford, great run to go 5th. Top Brit Kristen Bromley, Adam Pengillian, who was silver here 3 years ago, lies in 8th position, with Germany's young Alexander Krökel rounding out the top 10 after 31 slides in the first heat. 31 athletes will go in Heat 2, and again, if they all complete their run into Heat 3 tomorrow, then the field will be whittled down brutally to just 20 to go into the final and deciding heat. Well, as you can see, these pictures of the athletes warming up, it is pretty treacherous out there. So luckily, the track is covered. The start area remained fairly clear, and most of the track has been comprehensively swept as well between the runs. So Melissa Hollingsworth, the conditions should be as good as they possibly can be, despite the weather outdoors almost, because it almost makes the track an indoor. So Sergei Chudinov Cometh the hour, cometh the man. I don't know how that translates in Russian, but he's doing it. And so too is this guy. Yay for tall guys. Ben Sanford of New Zealand, 5th after heat 1. Come on, Ben, let's hold this together and lay another smoker down. He's had a bronze and now this year a silver in World Cup racing. He's won 4 America's Cup races this season alone. Wow, to get a World Championship medal, that would be a sensation. He started 5:12 first heat, 5:12 in the second.
The first heat, that was a 23rd ranked, so that'll probably be about the same throughout the field. Just watch his lines, how calm and relaxed he is. He's so tall that he can carry the mass, yet he's aerodynamic. He can stay really close to his sled, build so much speed.
Well, the only Kiwi slider to have won a World Championship medal was also called Sanford. Uncle Bruce claimed the gold in 1992 in Calgary in Canada. But Ben having a struggle here. He's closing the gap. 1:18.7. Top speed so far. He's doing what he did in the first heat. He's coming back at them.
So smooth. Look at his form.
Oh, a little steer there, and that might deny him the lead. No, it doesn't. 55.20. Just as quick as Chulinov. And he holds a 600th of a second lead over the Russian, as he did in the first heat.
And that would be frustrating to Chulinov. He was 4/10 ahead of him on the start. So that is hard.
Well, you know, Ben Sanford just finds the form. He breathes the ice, doesn't he?
Yeah, you don't see any abruptness from his lines.
If he could start like Martins and Thomas Ducours, he could win like them as well.
Really avoiding that short wall. Don't want to take that hit because it hurts, and he still has 2 more heats tomorrow.
Well, confirmation of the results after 2 of the 4 heats here. Martins Ducours of Latvia, the leader from Frank Rommel and Matt Antoine. Thomas Ducours lies in 4th from Ben Sanford and Sergei Chulinov. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Adirondack Mountains in upstate New York. We're in the small town of Lake Placid, ready for the final runs of the Men's Skeleton World Championships 2012, and the athletes may well be pushing off into the teeth of a gale. Hello, everybody. I'm Martin Haven. Alongside me is silver medalist from the women's competition, Melissa Hollingsworth. And Mel, pretty glad to be indoors today.
Yes, it is snowing. It is cold. Rumor has it it's -18 with the wind chill. That's a really, really difficult conditions to stay warm in as an athlete.
Yeah, it said -7, -8 on the car on the way down from the top of the track. And I have to say, I'm disinclined to countermand that. It is definitely cold. Now, after the first day of action, 4th in Heat 1, moving up to 3rd in Heat 2, top US slider Matt Antoine. What a great second run he had, Mel.
Yeah, great form. He knows this track inside out. It's his home track here in Lake Placid.
Another long, lean athlete, and the only man other than Martins Ducours, the reigning world champion, to win this season, Frank Rommel, lies in 2nd spot for Germany.
Not the best starter, but the best speeds we've seen all weekend training, and same form in this race.
Well, Rommel won once this year. Martins Ducours won 7 times this year in World Cup racing. He's won, including the World Championships, 12 of the last 13 races that he started. He is our world champion, World Cup champion, and European champion. He's got it all, and Superman leads after 1 of the 2 days of racing.
Fastest start, fastest equipment, and the fastest lines. Of course, it's the perfect combination.
And as soon as he heads into that phone booth to change, you will see him in his familiar red, blue and yellow. He really is quite a phenomenal talent. He's not just a quick starter. He hasn't just got good kit. He is the all-round package. And look at that, half a way through the competition, leading by nearly 7/10 of a second. So really, the battle is for who is next. Frank Rommel in silver, Matt Antoine in the bronze medal position overnight. But the real question perhaps might be, well, twofold. First, who's going to be in the top 20 at the end of Heat 3, because they're the only ones that progress into Heat 4. And secondly, is the weather going to play a factor?
Yeah, who knows? With this wind, that makes things a little bit tricky. The Lake Placid track is covered. The snow protocol is to have the track crew sweeping after every slider, but the way that the wind can funnel up into that start, it could pack the groove, it could create some drifts here and there, and that might be one of the issues today.
Well, the sprint start is very important, but it is blustery wind. If you run into the teeth of a gust, you could lose 2-3 tenths, maybe half a second in speed. Air temperature -9 in the shelter up at the start, and is quite sheltered up at the start compared to outside in the car park or down on the hill. Some very hardy fans coming out to see us. Well, start list for the third of our 4 heats features all 31 athletes who've completed the course so far. Martins Dukurs will go off first. He's our current race leader, and they go off in ranked order. So 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 31, exactly as they finished their overnight standings. And all their runs count, Mel, so the leader has a time advantage over everyone else, but there are some very close battles down this field.
There are close battles, and it's really interesting when you have a 4-heat race with combination times, because you have a whole night to think about things.
Tony Carlino and his crew here are doing a stunning job keeping this track raceable. Well, next up, great day 1 of the 2012 Bauhaus FIBT Skeleton Worlds for Kiwi Ben Sanford, the tall New Zealander, 6'6" of him. Just the ideal body shape for skeleton, long, lean, and he is able to make up for a start that gives away a tenth, maybe 2 tenths to his closest rivals.
Ben is not one of the fastest starters. He is at the end of the category. 5:16 though, that is not bad. That's almost as fast as yesterday with the snow.
That's only 400s he's dropped in that start compared to the others who have dropped almost a tenth. Is the height going to play any effect here? I mean, is that going to be any disadvantage with wind or anything?
No, aerodynamics is key, and that's one of Ben's strong points. You can see he's relaxed on his sled, he is tight form, his elbows aren't out, his shoulders are down. He was reading a book before this heat in the start house. I think he understands that he's not going to be able to challenge people on the push, so he is going to focus on what he needs to feel like inside. 121 kilometers an hour, that's challenging Martins Dukurs for the highest speed.
Dukurs was 121.1, Sanford 121.0. And look at him, he's steering so often just with the head. 54.76 slide, only the second man to get below a 55. That is a great run from Ben Sanford. He is now closing up. He's in 3rd spot. What a run!
200ths off of Martins Dukurs' time.
Yeah.
Wow, and that this is exciting. This is what can happen in skeleton. Look at the chicane. He is absorbing. Yes, we see his body going up and down, but he is a shock absorber there. He was only 0.1 kilometers per hour behind Martins Dukurs. That's how he is able to gain all of that speed.
He's gone 5th to 3rd. The Kiwi, whose Uncle Bruce won the World Championship in 1992.